Hi, I'm Sarah Blair from Indie Practices. Nothing is more frustrating in your office than to have a well-scheduled day completely fall apart due to cancellations and no-shows. Today we're going to talk about some strategies to make sure that your patients keep the appointments they set. The most important factor in preventing patients from canceling is to help build value for both the practice and the appointment itself. And the first tactic for this is to really connect with the patient. Sometimes this can be challenging on a new patient phone call, so see our video on new patient phone calls for some excellent tips here. But in person, it's much easier. Build rapport and ask them questions about themselves. Show genuine compassion and concern. Build value for the patient's appointment by really talking up the practice, the team, and the reason for the next appointment. It's never just the cleaning. Always tell the patient why it's important for them to return or to have that first appointment with you. The language that we use when making the appointment is really important. We want to make the patient feel that this appointment is valuable and that the team's time is valuable. So we'll be very specific about what we say. We're setting aside exactly this much time for you with Dr. Jones. It's very important that the sequence and timing of these appointments is followed. So be really specific about how you say it and then emphasize the time and day multiple times. Repeat it at least twice and then ensure that it gets into the patient's calendar. So you could just give them a moment to bring up their iCal or their Google Calendar and then ensure that it's entered. You'll also want to follow up with your software or just an email to send a calendar invitation. Make sure that it's on their timeline. Finally, I recommend giving them a physical reminder to take along. A simple card, something stylish for your practice that reminds them of the time and date of their next visit. Although we're telling the patient that the appointment is considered confirmed when it's made, we do want to utilize our software for courtesy reminders. Check the options and make sure you optimize it for your practice. I also recommend customizing it. Everyone is overwhelmed these days with automated reminders for various appointments, and they slip through the cracks and go unnoticed. So customize it whenever you can. Don't make it sound like it's coming from a machine. And if you can add value here by utilizing photo messages with pictures of the team and building value for the next visit, even better. We may find out during the reminder process that the patient needs to cancel or reschedule, or they may call us at the last minute, or even worse, they might just not show up and we might have to call them. Either way, we don't want to just say, okay, and then offer another appointment, or even worse, just say, okay, and let them go. We want to express some disappointment and concern. This might be hard at first, but it is very effective. We might say something like, oh no, I'm so sorry to hear that. What happened? We had an entire hour set aside for you with Tammy. So you want to give the sense that this time was valuable and that now it cannot be used for another patient. Sometimes by saying, is there anything I can do to help you keep this appointment? You'll be able to keep patients in the schedule. If they do really need to reschedule, check to see their history. If they have a history of many missed appointments, you're going to have a different reaction. If the patient has been very consistent, go ahead and get them rescheduled, but not for tomorrow. Put their appointment about a week or two ahead. If the patient has a history of missing a lot of appointments, we're going to offer them an appointment, but it needs to be at least 1 month away. We don't want patients to think they can just cancel and then get an appointment the very next day, like we're just sitting there waiting for them to come in. If the patient's not able to reschedule with you right then on the phone, make sure you have a system in place to follow up so that they don't fall through the cracks and get lost. You need to keep them in the system. So follow up and document. Make sure that you're taking great notes about every time a patient misses an appointment, is late, cancels last minute, or doesn't show up. Have a system in your software and make sure it's easy to follow so that anyone can look in the patient's chart and see their history of attendance very easily. Finally, sometimes no matter how much we build value for appointments, no matter how much we confirm the appointment and make sure the patient is aware, the patient will not show up. And that's telling us something. When a patient misses multiple appointments, it's possible they're just not a good fit for our practice. But the patients who do value our care, we need an excellent system for keeping them in the appointment book. These conversations often go on behind the scenes. So as the leader, you need to be tracking your cancellation data, listening to phone calls, training your team to save appointments and build value for the appointments, and then showing appreciation for the team that goes above and beyond to keep patients in the schedule. Make sure that you check the notes for a wonderful document that has some more great tips on reducing cancellations. Feel free to reach out anytime to any practices with questions. We're happy to help.